We're walking you through all the options, cover stitch and overlock stitches that you can do on the Husqvarna Viking Embroidery S600. Now we just did a video on how to go from serging to cover stitch. I want you to watch that video if you haven't yet. We'll link to it right up here of all the steps it takes to get to where we are right now. But we're going to talk about a cover stitch narrow option and how we would take it from, say, a wide cover stitch to a narrow cover stitch, and when you would want that feature versus using all three needles or using the two widest ones like what we have in so far. So one of the things to keep in mind is we have all the stitches pre-programmed into this machine. So we're currently on cover stitch wide. And so as we have right now the yellow thread and we'll call it pink thread or red thread, that's what we have in our two needles. And we have a purple thread in the cover stitch looper. So as we are looking at the needles we're using the outside needle on the left and the inside needle on the right. So this is good for some of your wider, more sturdier fabrics, but when you want to go to a narrow cover stitch option, arrow down, that's stitch number 25, is that we are going to be using the yellow thread in the far left needle and the blue thread in the center needle position. I'll show you how we'll know that. These are all the things that you need to set up to get to this point, and a narrow option is for stretch fabrics and decorative as well. Here's why I absolutely love this machine, because some days when I do want to do a two-thread narrow cover stitch, I always forget which of the, am I supposed to use the two needles that are out here or the two needles that are here, the middle and the inside or the middle and the outside? Look, it says right here, I need my C needle and the D needle. So that means that I need to put a needle in that center needle position here, and I need to remove the needle that is on the outside in the E position. Here is what I want to just make sure you know. You can't just move this needle, well, you can move physically the needle over, but you can't just leave this pink thread in its location of the pink tension. You have to put it in the blue tension, and then that way you'll actually have tension. So in this machine, if you leave something in there, it doesn't care because it's not going to do anything to that thread and you won't get the results you're looking for. So you do need to follow along. Make sure you are putting the thread in the yellow and the blue location. And even if that means just putting it over here and then moving the thread, you do have to rethread it for that stitch so you actually get the tensions in the place that you're using it on. So definitely just wanted to point that out. When we go to our next stitch, which is the chain stitch, stitch number 26, you're going to notice, okay, that's what we're going to go for, is here's the one I always forget too, is which of the three needle positions do I use for chain stitch? And we see it is the middle one that we are using for chain stitch. So I'll take out the needles, put one in the center, thread up only the blue, okay, so make sure you're not in the ones that don't count. You'll see that in the tension area, we need it in the blue, and then also way over there on the purple, the cover stitch looper. Again, those are easy because it's just air jet threaded in, and it makes it really easy to go from stitch to stitch. Even if you're going from like a 4-thread overlock to a cover stitch, you just have to move needles around, and that's it. And then you are all of a sudden using two different sides of this machine, completely two different machines all together in one, and not taking up a ton of room in your sewing studio. So I hope you'll check out, we'll do a video on the chain stitch, show you what that's all about, but make sure you do check out the one where we show you all the steps it takes to go from the overlock side to the cover stitch, and so you don't miss any of those. And because this machine is so easy to thread, don't be afraid to just clip all your threads and start over so you don't miss one of those steps. That's probably the most important part.